Aloha. I'm Paul Norman. I'm the Executive Director of Neighborhood Places Puna, and I want to wish everybody a happy Labor Day. For most of us, this marks the end of the summer and we start getting back into school mode or whatever happens after, summer ends. But it's important to remember that Labor Day actually has a little bit of history, and that this was a national holiday that was established in the late 1800s by President Grover Cleveland, and it was really created as a response, to a response to the pretty horrid working conditions during the height of the Industrial Revolution. There were many Americans were working way too much, working long hours, might be working 7 days a week. Children as young as 5 were working in factories. Everybody was underpaid. So of course, children were paid much less than adults, but even the adults were being underpaid and could barely survive, even though they were pouring so much of their life into this. And often the conditions for adults and children were just unsafe, right? They were unsafe. Workers were exposed to dangerous machinery, didn't have protective equipment, exposed to chemicals, noxious fumes. They lacked, a lot of factories, a lot of hazardous work environments just lacked appropriate sanitary facilities, and it was just a bad situation. And at the same time, there was a unions movement that was arising, and there were conflicts between the unions and the owners of the different industries and factories and whatever. And so one of the things that came out of this was Labor Day. So a day off, a day of rest for laborers, a day to recognize the people who do the majority of work in our society. And because, it's easy to forget the importance of having sufficient labor. We kind of take that for granted in the United States. We've always seemed to have enough. Other countries have struggled to have enough labor and have faced some challenges. And perhaps the U.S. now is moving into a phase where we don't have workers to do the work, right? Because that's what you need. You need people to do the work. And we have to be careful about commodifying people's lives. So Labor Day is an opportunity to remember that. And the other thing I think we should hold in mind during Labor Day is that there's still a tremendous number of working people who are either in poverty, outright poverty, or are poor. So to give you an idea, based on the government own estimates, around 10 to 11% of the United States population, the richest country in the world, are at or below the poverty line. And for a family of 4, that's around $26,500. So a family of 4, if you're at or below $26,500, you're in poverty. And then, another big chunk of the population are 30% and below. So you're either, a big chunk of the population are poor, are low income. Let's call it low income, which it's estimated to be around 30% of the population are either low income or in poverty. So low income is 200% of the poverty line. So for a family of 4, that's $53,000 a year. Sounds like a lot, depending on where you live. It might not be, and parents know, right? So here in Hawaii, that's kind of a survival budget. And there's no way that you, as a parent working a full-time job at minimum wage, are going to bring your family above the poverty line. And even if there are two adults in the household and they're both working full-time at a minimum wage job, your family's still going to be well below the poverty line. And I think we should think about that here you have hardworking people who are below the poverty line. That in the richest country in the world, that you can still work full-time, fully employed, and fall below the poverty line. And to me, there's something morally questionable about that. And there are a lot of reasons behind that. But I think it's something that we need to, in Labor Day, we just need to remember that. Neighborhood Place of Puna. Neighborhood Place of Puna worked primarily with families with young children. And we know just from all the data here, and at least in Hawaii, that families with children tend to be the most economically challenged. They have the highest rates of poverty. They're the highest rates of low-income families. It's just hard and expensive to raise children. And also, the people who are having children tend to be younger. They're at the beginning of their career paths. They're not making enough income. And the unfortunate thing about that is that has negative impacts for children, right? Children who are raised in poverty, children who are low income, who don't have enough, children who are raised in households that don't have enough financial resources, tend to lack access to certain things that could help them succeed in school, for instance. So we know lower income children tend to arrive at school less prepared to learn. Not because the parents don't have the skills to help their children, it's because they don't have the time. They're working 2 and 3 jobs and they're stressed out and they don't have the time to do all the things that someone who is a family that's more financially established, has more financial resources, can do. So Labor Day, end of summer, I hope you have a great Labor Day. I hope you have a safe Labor Day. But also do remember that without workers, the US economy collapses. And without taking care of our children, the future of the United States looks very grim. So I hope that during these celebrations, you'll take a little bit of time to appreciate the many, many, many people who are working really hard in the United States to build the economy. And that probably includes you. So thank you. And be thankful for them. Be thankful for the contribution they are making to the health and welfare of the United States. And let's together figure out a way to be more supportive of families with children. Aloha, have a wonderful Labor Day.